All right. She got to get her hair did for her big performance. You'd say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm gotta get my hair brushed, so I'm ready for TV.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
So pretty.
I gotta get my hair brushed, so I'm ready for my TV performance. Tell hi.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, everybody.
Hi,
Say
everybody.
hi, you, everybody.
Everybody.
What are we gonna talk about tonight?
We stop.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Should we tell them about Jesus a little bit?
Yes, star.
You know any Jesus songs? You gotta sing them a Jesus song?
Yes, star.
You just like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Okay. You wanna sing real quick and then go get your bath or something? Twinkle, twinkle. How you are? Tell them this little light of mine. That's Dad's favorite one you do. Tell them this little light. Oh, you gonna blow it out? You just skip right to that part? Okay.
She can't ever remember it.
Alright, Dad's gonna do is say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Alright, go have fun.
Let's go upstairs. Come on.
No, I want to
Here you go. Alright, go have fun. See you later.
I didn't know we had a motorcycle. Alright, let's go upstairs.
Alright.
Don't do that.
Well, if you was needing a Kinsley fix,
Yeah.
my sister always comments, where's Kinsley? Usually my dad comments too, like he doesn't see her enough. Oh yeah, he already commented.
Get up there.
Alright. Well, it is beautiful out. I'm sitting in my front dining room with the blinds open, and there's just person after person after person riding their bike and walking and running and going in the park. So beautiful time of year in Michigan, that's for sure. All right, Chris Nickel, what's up, Chris? Lois, hey Lois, how are you? Tammy Typelis. Norma Keenan, what's up, Norma? All right. So probably, I was just thinking, probably some of y'all was expecting Pastor Ed tonight, wasn't you? So we fooled you. We fooled you. So you get me tonight and Kinsley. You got a little bit of Kinsley too, but. All right. Pastor Ed is gone for a little bit, so Jason is doing Monday and Thursday. I think Tim's doing Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember what we figured out. I just know I'm doing Monday and Thursday. So you're gonna get me at least Monday and Thursday. All right. Well, like always, right? You know the routine with me, at least, anyways. If you got a prayer request or you got a praise report, love those too. Go ahead and throw those on Facebook, or you can text it to me, or whatever you want to do, and I'll mention it at the end. I'll go back over to Facebook or whatever and read those off, and we'll grab those at the end and we'll pray and be done. So should be a good one today. Today is kind of a convicting one, if I'm being honest. Once we jump into it, you'll understand why. But today's a good one. Today was a bit of a convicting one, though, so it'll be good. It will be good. All right, let me jump over to the devotional. So the title is Faith Produces Works. Faith produces works. So I mentioned that it was a bit convicting, and I give you the title, Faith Produces Works. So maybe you can tie those two together and see. Maybe I'm the only one that will be convicted by it. But I was a bit convicted once I got into it, started reading a little bit. Not because I don't do anything, but I just always feel, I guess, maybe like we could always be doing more. We could always be doing a little bit better. You know, I was always trying to striving to do a little more, do a little bit better. So, faith produces works. The verse is Ephesians 6, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7. There we go. I'll get it out yet. And then he kind of chops it a little bit, but says, doing service as to the Lord. Doing service as to the Lord. It was always kind of the big idea or the big concept. When I grew up, my mom's side of the family, my grandpa, my mom's dad, my grandpa Worthing, started a contracting company. It was a plumbing and heating and building company, you know, construction, that kind of thing. And that was always kind of the main concept, or kind of the undertone of the whole thing, was doing service as to the Lord, or in that regard, working as unto the Lord. Like, so I always kind of had the idea that regardless of what we were doing it as service to the Lord, right? And so that was just kind of the motivating factor, or kind of just the concept, or the thrust, or the push behind the thing. So he goes on to say, Billy Graham, I love, sometimes he definitely has a way with words. Like when he's speaking, he for sure does. Like I love watching his old sermons and stuff. You can get on YouTube and look him up and stuff, and I love watching his old sermons. But even in his writing and stuff, he has a way with words. And so he says tonight, it says, a true sacrament is not a mere creed or an ordinance or a form, but it is a life of service to God and to man. So it's not just God, but to God and to man. The most eloquent prayer is the prayer through hands that heal and bless. The highest form of worship is the worship of unselfish Christian service. If you don't hear anything else, hear that. The highest form of worship is the worship of unselfish Christian service. Unselfish, there's a word for the day, right? The greatest form of praise is the sound of consecrated feet seeking out the lost and the helpless. There must be a practical outworking of our faith here in this present world, or it will never endure the world to come. You understand that concept? There must be a practical outworking of your faith here in this present world, or that will never endure the world to come. The Pharisee, I love this. This is what I loved about it. His way with words. It says, the Pharisees majored on show, but minored on actual service. We need fewer words and more charitable works. Less grandstanding and more pity. Less repetition of creed and religiosity and those things. And more compassion, more grace, and more love, right? If we go back to the title, faith produces works. So obviously, as soon as you hear that idea or that concept, if you've been a Christian for any amount of time, you instantly think, at least I do, you instantly think of the book of James, right? You go right to the book of James at the beginning, and James lays out the whole kind of thing. Faith without works is dead, and all of those things. In our men's group that we had a little while ago, we did a whole study in the book of James, and we really dove in deep to this idea of faith and works, and show me your faith, and if you see my faith, you will see works, because real, genuine Christian faith automatically transitions itself into works, because that's what the Bible talks about, that's what Jesus was about. We are to be the church, we are to be Christians, and if we are that in the right idea, the right concept, in the right vein, it automatically generates itself into doing good works, right? And so I think that's why the title for today, Faith Produces Works, doing service as unto the Lord. If we are going to have the right concept of the way Jesus wants us to live our lives, it automatically transitions itself from our faith into our works. Says there must be a practical. So I love that, he chooses, like I said, he chooses his words so well. Must be a practical outworking of our faith here in the present world. What is God? I talk about this all the time. I say this all the time, and I think about this all the time. To me, this practical outworking kind of fleshes itself out in this. What is God doing right now in our area that we can join in on? What are we praying about? What are we talking about? What are we thinking about that we can join in with God where He's already at? Come alongside Him and be the church and be a Christian, right? That's the practical outworking of our faith. You know, we're trying to always come up with, when we sit in our Monday morning staff meetings there at Westside, we're always trying to come up with ways to help our body of believers live this practical outworking of their faith. We're always trying to come up with opportunities that we can get out into the community and we can love on other people, we can bless other people, we can show other people our idea or our concept that we believe what the church looks like, right? What we believe a Christian looks like. And that is, built into that, is this practical outworking of faith. Like, if we are Christians, if we are the church, it should be naturally that we just go and we get out, and there's this practical outworking of our faith, that we want to bless our community. We want to bless those non-believers around us. We want to love on those non-believers around us, or those who are hurting around us, so they can see the practical outworking of our faith, so they can see that we operate differently, that we look differently, we believe differently. And then what we believe is that they get a glimpse of that. They get a glimpse of why we do what we do, and we point them to Jesus because He is the reason why we do what we do. Then they're drawn, right? And they don't just see the church for the religiosity of it and just putting in the time of it and like the pharisaical idea like he talks about here. I love that. The Pharisees majored on show, but minored on service. You know, they were all about the religiosity of it. You know, show up on Sunday and do all of these things, and all throughout the week you can do this and you can't do this, and it was all about show. But they really weren't ever helping anybody other than they thought they were helping themselves, and they were putting on this great big display. That's not Christianity at all. That's not the church at all. The world doesn't need more of that. The world needs more of me loving on my neighbor, our church loving on our community, the church loving on the world, right? That's how our world is going to change. You can see all of the garbage going on in the world. We can help enact change in that by being the church, by being the Christian right where God has us at. So we always talk about in our Monday morning meetings, how can we as a church, as Westside, join into what God's currently doing in our community, in our area. And then we try to come up with ways and come up with plans and come up with ideas that we can do that, right? And so the prayer for today is this. I love the prayer. It's a perfect cap for the end of it. It says, "Talk so often drowns out the cries for help. I am guilty of this, O Lord, as much as anybody." We can, if we're not careful, and I do believe this is some of what happens in a lot of churches today, well-meaning churches even, well-intentioned churches, is if we're not careful, we can let the talk of doing the stuff, the planning of doing the stuff, drown out the actual doing of the stuff and the cries from the world at large for the people who need us to do some stuff for them or with them, right? And so to talk about it is fine. To plan about it obviously is necessary. It's it's the right thing to do to try to be good stewards of our time and good stewards of our money. But if it always drowns out the cries for help from the lost world, then we're getting it wrong. We've got to get out. Our faith has to produce works. Our faith has to be the motivation, the thrust behind us going out and living the Christian life in our daily context, whatever that is. So, whether you do this a very little bit or you do this a ton, it can always be better, right? It can always be more. And so that was why I say it was a bit convicting for me, is because the question, he asked a question at the very end of this, and we'll finish with this. It says, this can be kind of a retrospective thing for you. Is your faith life producing fruit? Is your faith life producing fruit? So I always kind of do this self-check thing. In the last day, what have I done? In the last week, what have I done? In the last 2 weeks, in the last month, whatever kind of time frame you want to put on it. Think about it in that way. Is my faith life producing fruit? In the last day or so, what have I done with my faith life? What has my faith driven me to do? What has my faith motivated me to do? What has my faith produced? What fruit has my faith produced, right? In the last day. What has my faith life produced in the last week, in the last 2 weeks. So it's a good self-check to just kind of think about, okay, what ministries am I doing? Who am I praying for? Who have I loved on? Who have I did something for who would never, ever in a million years be able to repay me? But I did it because I seen their need and I felt God calling me to do that. And so I stepped up and stepped into that. That's producing fruit. That's your faith life flushing itself out, producing fruit, right? Loving on somebody that can never, ever do anything for you. That's your faith life working itself out, producing fruit, right? When we start doing that on a large scale, that's how Christians change the world. So, all right. That's what I got for you tonight. I thought it was pretty awesome. I love the Billy Graham devotionals for sure. All right, I'm going to go back over to Facebook. Let's see if anybody's got any prayer requests. Anybody's got any praises. It always takes me a second to switch back over. All right. I don't see anything on there as of right now. Okay, no prayer request. So if you got something, you can send it to me. Like I said, Tim's going to be doing his tomorrow. You can always send it to Tim, or you can comment on here, and we'll see it after the fact. And we can pray for it tomorrow or whatever. So, no worries. All right, let's pray, and we'll get out of here, and we'll see you all tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, all right? Father, I thank you for your goodness, and I thank you for your grace. God, I am thankful that you are for us and you are with us. God, I'm just thankful for the fact that you are working in our town, in our community, and with people right around us all the time, God. I just pray that you would open our ears, you would open our eyes, and you would open our hearts to the needs around us, God, and I just pray that you would help to empower us and motivate us and move us to live out a faith life that, God, that produces fruit, that, God, that touches the people around us that you would have us to come into contact with, God. I just pray that as Christians we would come together and we could be the church in our area. God, I always pray, if there's anything that you want to do with the church in the Flushing area, in Genesee County, God, in Michigan, God, do it with Westside. God, I also pray that if there's anything that you need to do with a single believer in this area, God, do it with somebody at Westside. Do it with me. Do it with somebody at Westside, God. I just pray that we would be mindful of where we're at and who we are as Christians and what we're supposed to be about. And I just pray that you would help us, that our faith life would be pushed out into the open, and that people would see the fruit of our faith life, and they would know it's because of your Son, Jesus, that we do it. God, I'm just thankful for all you do for us. God, I have praise after praise after praise of the good things that you're doing. God, I just pray that you would be with us, you would help us, and in your Son, Jesus, I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy this weather. I think it's just supposed to keep getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Spring has sprung for sure. I think I seen like mid-80s by the end of the week. So y'all better get your air conditioners ready because it's going to get hot quick. And probably going to need that AC. So, all right. We'll see you tomorrow with Tim at 8. We love you.